Okay, so now our sponsor and featured speaker, Steve Betando with Morgan Hill Unified School District, the state of the schools. Thank you. So this was going to be a little longer, but as I've been an educator for 34 years, you just sometimes have to adjust your lesson plan and things happen. So, and I'm going to do that. Besides that, last time I spoke, and I have to thank Marty Cheek for recording what I said up here and turning it into an article that was on Morning Hill Live, so I appreciate that, Marty. But also last time I mentioned that we are going to do a full State of the District on October 10th, sponsored by Morgan Hill Life and the Chamber. That'll be at the Community Cultural Center. So this is just a teaser, and we'll just talk about a few things here and make sure that you all have the chance to do the raffle and also get out of here on time as much as possible. So first, to introduce somebody who is the quintessential board member, and actually I have a raffle ticket for anybody that can define quintessential. So quintessential, actually the term is the person that represents the perfect example of a quality or class. And that quintessential board member is Ron Wolf, and he's over here, and it's a class. And much to my disappointment, he's not running again, much to his wife Peg's enthusiasm, he's not running again, and they're going to spend a lot of time doing what they're doing a little bit now, and that's traveling and visiting with others and golfing and all that stuff. So thank you, Ron. He's been a trustee since 2010. A real example of how to be a trustee. I also wanted to mention that there are some candidates in the room, and so I think I know them all, but I don't want to miss anybody, so I'm going to have you stand up, introduce yourself, and what area you're representing for this November election.
Hello everyone, my name is Angelica Diaz, and I am running for Area 5.
Okay. I think the middle table is all we got. I don't see. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So my name is Carol Gittens, and I am running for Area 4.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Wendy Sullivan, and I'm running to represent Trustee Area 1.
Good morning. My name is Tara Beddington, and I am running in Trustee Area 2.
Sorry, go ahead, James.
I'm James Dill, and I'm running for Area 2.
John Horner, I need an evening job to go with my day job, so I'm also running in Area 2.
So we do have 5 trustee areas, so none of the incumbents have put their names in for those areas. There is one of the areas, Trustee Area 5, which was vacated by Tom Arnett. He had 2 years on his term still. He was the president, and he moved down south with his family, where he could afford a home and raise his children. And by leaving that vacant, the term of the election will be the final 2 years, and so it'll be on that cycle. That's Area 5, so in August, running for that one. And then there's another trustee area, Area 3, and Heather Orozco is the only candidate running for that position. So she doesn't really have to run because we were told by ROV it's not put on the ballot when there's only one candidate running. And she has been out and about to all the back to school nights and things like that because she wants to get to know the sites and meet everyone. It's been a pleasure taking her around to the sites as well. So the summer has been a summer of construction, a summer of a lot of things, but construction. Most of you know that Paradise Valley is in full swing for what we call increment 1, which is the groundwork. Increment 2 is soon to happen, and that's putting up 2 science buildings, or I'm sorry, 2 classroom buildings. One will house some science labs and such. There's other construction going on at the other sites, which we could talk about later if there's time. There's also another site, Paradise Valley. That school, if you've ever been to Paradise Valley in the classroom building or the office, it will be changed quite markedly. We've removed 4 of the classrooms in one of those pod buildings and created an auditorium in there. It's going to be quite the auditorium with the stage. And it will be available for community use, for facilities use, and it will house probably 400 to 500 seated people, and so that will be available to the community. And it's also been a summer of the arts. We've had so many things going on in the schools. Summer school, we had an art component to all of summer school, embedded in the curriculum for all the classes. And we know that summer school has come back from the enrichment activities that we used to have because the funding has been cut from that, but we infused the enrichment with the arts back into the program. Also, a couple just unique things that have happened. Greg Chambers is our band director at Sobrato, and Martin Murphy. He's also a renowned musician, and he plays many instruments, but jazz. He performs and publishes, and actually you could hear him every day on the radio in some jazz stations. Oh, wow. He just released a new album, and he had a big fundraiser at Granada Theater to actually raise funds, release his album, if you call it an album anymore, but raise funds for the bands at Sabata and at Martin Murphy, where he is the instructor. And he's also on Spotify. I just typed his name in and he popped up to Spotify, so Greg Chambers is his name. Chris DeMello is writing his own, I think it's a play that he's doing. I don't know if there's a musical component to it, but the school is Sobrato, and they're going to be performing that. He's getting it published right now. There's so many little things that are going on, but we're trying to make sure that even though the funds are short, that we're keeping the arts, music into the program. We're also doing a lot with career tech ed. And we've got concurrent enrollment classes that are joining with junior colleges and colleges where students can get tech certificates. I have a whole bunch on that, but I'm going to save that for another time. We just passed our unaudited actuals, moved that. We're in really good standing. Our bond rating is the highest of any district-like district in the state of California. We're solid financially. The curriculum adoptions are moving along right on schedule. We save enough money to employ those adoptions according to teacher advisory councils, and they're doing it right now. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the welcome back that we had with our staff in August. I addressed all the Morgan Hill employees at the Sobrato gym, and I talked about a few things. One of the things I talked about was that in school, I was the one that hated school. I was super quiet, I was an introvert. I consider myself a reluctant extrovert by job title, I guess. But I talked about why I hated school, and the reason why I shared that is because really it's our goal to engage every single child where they need to be engaged. And so the reach out to those kids, we have over 800 employees, from each one of those employees, whether they're a bus driver, a cafeteria worker, a teacher, principal, is so important because we can't miss any single one of them. So, on that note, I really appreciate Brittany and her coming up with the are you smarter than a fifth grader? Which I got some wrong because I wasn't thinking, or I'm not smarter than a fifth grader. But my belief is that you don't have to be smarter than a fifth grader to survive in anything, even as a sixth grader or an adult. And so that was part of my discussion too. Creative thinking is most important. You don't have to know everything. As a matter of fact, I think a better game is, are you faster than a fifth grader? Because everybody has their cell phone, and I bet the conversation was at every table, can we use our cell phones, right? Because it wasn't ours. And it is so important to be resourceful. Everything, information is at our fingertips. What happens with a business when the computers go down? People want to go home, right? They can't do their work because we need our information from our computers, from our phones all the time. So I think that what we're doing in schools, and we'll talk a little bit about this on October 10th, is developing ways that people can interact to get the best possible answers and the best possible solutions necessary. That's what it takes to be successful in college now. Having nephews that just went through college, my daughter's in her final year at San Diego State, it really is being resourceful, being able to work with people. The main reason why people lose their jobs is because they can't get along with other people, not because of what they don't know or can't do or the experience they don't have. It's because they don't get along well with other people. Anybody can be resourceful if they're taught the technology. So I've got some questions here that don't really relate to that topic necessarily, but I do have rewards also, which are raffle tickets. And I appreciate Brittany's table award, but for anybody that gets a question right, John, would you be so kind as to give them a ticket? And I think I just have a dozen questions here. And these raffle tickets are for later rewards. So, and what we find with kids is it really doesn't matter what you give them, as long as they get something. It could be a sticker. A sticker is as valuable as a, well, not as valuable as a bottle of wine, but it's as valuable as a car wash or something like that. Okay. So the first question is, and so because it was a group word last time, this time we're going to look for a hand. Okay. The first question: how many of the 4 Morgan Hill Unified School District comprehensive secondary schools are recognized as California Distinguished Schools? Oh, right back there, Lynette.
3. No. Yes.
Second chance, she says 4. She got it right. There are 4. All 4 comprehensive. Thank you. And that is the highest honor that the state of California gives to secondary schools. So Britt Murphy, Live Oak, and Sobrato, in their first opportunity to qualify for that, qualified and they got awarded, and we were recognized for that. Okay, number 2. Which elementary school was the pilot school for Silicon Valley as the School Link Services Program, and now it's being expanded over 10 districts? Which school in Morgan Hill? No penalty for getting it wrong. Yes, Barrett! Coming from a parent of which school? Barrett. Right. I didn't know you were going to be here. Okay. Name one of the 3 Morgan Hill schools who have won the most caring school climate in the Bay Area in the last 6 years. The most caring school climate. There are 3 schools. Okay, Becky?
Live Oak High School.
Live Oak High School, right on. Awesome. The other 2 were P.A. Walsh and Les Passaics. What's the name of the new program which the district started this year to educate past expelled students re-entering the school system who lost their educational opportunity when the county office shut their doors this past June? The name of the new program. So it's worth 2 tickets now. 2 tickets. You can use your phone.
Press.
Press, yes. Now, bonus question, John. What does PRESS stand for?
I have no idea. Can somebody Google that for me? It's an acronym, but I forget what
Yeah, it's Program Reentry for Expulsion Suspension Students. And it is hard to remember. We like it that way because people will call it press. So, and that is for students that have been expelled, got into some trouble, maybe they were in juvenile hall. It's a reentry program, which we have wraparound services for them. We have counseling support, and we're hoping to develop a mentor program, which some of you may be interested in. Number 5, what's the name of the program the district started 2 years ago to educate students who learned in unique ways when Flex Charter Schools shut their doors just prior to school starting? This one's a little hard. Okay. This one is Mahila. Not a good acronym. We're trying to think of another one. So I'm asking you, if you could think of another one. It's basically Independent Learning Academy, and we can't think of a name. We're going to apply for a school code for that, and we've sent it out to different focus groups on coming up with a name for Independent Learning Academy. And what it is a program for those students that are higher achieving. For instance, students that might be able to graduate by the age of 16, and they're on digital learning curriculum and advanced placement classes, and they get some individual help, and they do lab group work. It's those unique students that don't really fit into a comprehensive school. So we started that the year right after, it's like within 3 weeks that Flex closed for students that better learn in that way. How many K-6 elementary schools are there in the district? Trick question. Risk it. Go out there, risk it. It's a number between
0.
Who said 0?
I did.
0. Exactly. Exactly. 3 years ago, 4 years. Yeah, no. Yeah, 4 years ago we had 8. We don't have any K-6 schools. We have now 6 K-5 schools, and we have 2 K-8 schools, and we moved the 6th grade to middle school. Okay? How many of the 14 schools that we do have are receiving remodeling or major upgrades for Measure B funds? Kind of a trick question, too.
14.
14. You got it. What are the... this one, I'll skip that one. How many graduation ceremonies does Morgan Hill Unified District have each year? High school graduation.
3. No, 4. 4.
Nope.
3.
Nope. Closer. 6. Diana gets it. 6. Yes. So we have 6. We have Sobrato, Livo. We also have Central, which is our alternative school. We have Community Adult School. And Community Adult School, we've had students in there that are in their 70s get their high school diploma. And then we have a summer program where the kids can graduate and still get into their class. Let's say they're behind on units. They can get into their class. So I think I got them all.
5.
Okay, summer. Adult Ed, Central, summer program.
Press?
Well, press not yet. Oh, we have a mid-year. We have a mid-year graduation for Central students. The students that we just started that. Okay. What's the ratio of laptop computers to students in grades 7 through 12?
1-to-1.
Exactly. Somebody got that there. Or raise those hands. They're calling out. Somebody got there, got it.
We like Lacey, you get the ticket.
Okay. John, how many tickets do you have left?
Lots.
Okay, so let's do it like a pop out, and then I'll just send you running around there. How's that? Name some top U.S. colleges that Morgan Hill students have been accepted in the last 5 years. Berkeley, Santa Clara, USC, Harvard, Princeton, Yale. I'm sorry? Stanford, West Point. Okay, raise your hand if you call one out and we're recognized so that John can get to you.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Duke.
We got West Point. Yeah. Yeah. Johns Hopkins. MIT. NYU. Okay. I think. Are you going to run out of tickets for all?
Got 2 left. Who did I miss?
Okay. Feel free to come to October 10th. I hope I trimmed your time period down a little bit. Back on schedule? Thank you. Not quite? All right. Thank you very much.